This is Total Babble. Total Babble. It's a show about music, pop culture, social media, movies, the internet, relationships, TV, whatever. Total Babble. The Total Babble Podcast.
I would just like to remind everyone that someone can be unfairly and brutally murdered and still be a total piece of shit. That's the open of this week's show. I'll tell you, I'm so tired of Charlie Kirk and talking about it, but we missed last week's big event by a matter of hours. We did last week's show, and then about 2 hours later, he got killed, and I figured we could talk about it really quick because by now it's on the way to being a dead topic. At least I would like it to be, but they keep bringing it up. I'm sorry he was murdered, but he was also a piece of shit. And it's not unfair to say that if you're of right thinking. And now the white nationalist Christians are turning him into a hero and a martyr. And I'm tired of that part of it. So I at least wanted to give that opinion on it. And I have 45 seconds of a Charlie Kirk sizzle reel here that we can play, but wanted to give you a chance to jump in case you somehow thought he was a great guy and you were a Charlie Kirk supporter. She's Emily.
I'm Emily, and I can believe it's not butter. Yeah. But what I think that nobody deserves to be killed for free speech. Was I a Charlie Kirk fan? No. And funnily enough, it was because one of my sons actually played me some things that he had said, and something that has become very interesting in the wake of this terrible, terrible tragedy, which I was so upset when it happened, and even more upset when it started to come out that like his wife was there and one of his daughters was there and all of this sort of stuff. It is just absolutely senseless and stupid, and I wish that people who get out there with their guns and hurt other people would just go out in their backyard and blow their own fucking brains out first, like instead of making it somebody else's problem. It makes me so angry. But he did say a lot of things.
And one of the things he said, just to kind of make his own point, is I think it's worth to have a cost of some gun deaths every single year so that we can have a Second Amendment. He fought for that. So how'd it work out for you, Charlie? How'd that blind allegiance to guns without any need for regulation work out for you? So live by the assholery, die by the assholery, I guess you could say.
I mean, I saw it when he was saying it, and I thought at the time that's just reprehensible, but he really has been martyred over that. And one of the things that has come out in the wake of this that I thought was absolutely fascinating is that people and the algorithm in social media dictate what you see. There are people out there, some of them are my friends and neighbors, who have never heard some of the controversial and abhorrent things that Charlie Kirk had said throughout his career. They had only seen some of the great things that he said, which, like most people, even a broken clock's right twice a day, right? So he did actually say a lot of great things.
Things that made sense, at least.
And, things that made sense. And some people have only seen that side of him.
Yeah, and I'll give you
I thought was fascinating.
45 seconds of a highlight reel I found. These are not my edits, so that you know, some of these are bad edits. But I just took 45 seconds out of this. And if you search, I found another one that was like 3.5 minutes of just insane bullshit. But here's just a quick little bit.
I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. The Civil Rights Act was a mistake. White person were to come up and say, Black America really needs to get its act together and stop sleeping around all the time, and it needs to actually have enough.
Why would you?
Because it's true. I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? Remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder. See a black pilot, you wonder, boy, is that person there because they earned it or because they were placed there?
So that's just a quick little bit of what I found, and I just wanted to play part of that just for perspective so we don't lose what that guy was really about. And Trump decided immediately that it was the radical left before there were any facts on it. It was just immediately the radical left, and that doesn't seem to be the case. His father was a cop, and they're trying to determine all of that. But then I thought, for purposes of a bigger conversation on this, if your kid did that, would you turn them in?
Yes.
Yeah, I would too. Like if my 79-year-old mother, and she could probably do it, if she did that, I would have to turn her in because that's just the right thing to do. What is the level where you would maybe start to get iffy about maybe turning in one of your kids for something illegal? Like murder, you have to. I would think robbery, you probably have to if I'm thinking of relatives and loved ones. Like at what point do you protect, I guess?
So I have a scenario where I wouldn't hand them in. I think that a core part of our family values is taking responsibility for your actions and dealing with the consequences of said actions, no matter what that is. If you knock on a bottle of milk in the kitchen, well, you best believe you're going to pick it up. You may not get in trouble for that because accidents happen. But if you go into your brother's room, I'm looking at you, small child, who did this last night after being repeatedly asked not to, and then picking up something that's made of glass that's important to your older brother, and then accidentally knock it on and smash it into 1,000 pieces, you know what you're going to be doing? Not only apologizing, but you're going to use your own money to replace that, okay? And I know that those are really tame examples. It's not rape, murder, pillage. But if it is very clear that they have committed a crime, I would turn them in. Ideally, I would get them to turn themselves in. You know, I wouldn't want to have to call up a tip line and be like, go and find my kid. They've done this. That would not make me feel good.
What if it was a bad situation that they were with some other kids and the other kids were the primary ones doing it and they got trapped into a situation where they couldn't get away from it? Then would you still be like turn yourself in if it meant really bad consequences for them too?
I think it depends.
Yeah.
An example of what you've just described could be they're in a car with friends who've been drinking and driving. They're not behind the wheel. They're in the passenger seat. And the drink driver commits a hit and run.
They would have to say something if somehow it wasn't known. And
exactly. And then I found out, okay, this happened. They were in the car. Even if it wasn't their responsibility, you can't just hurt someone like that. It gets iffy, right? But I do believe that the law is the law. One thing where I will always defend my sons unless proven guilty, and this is going to be controversial, but it is if they are accused of some sort of, forcing a girl or something like that. I believe in believing victims, but I would want to make really sure.
Is that because of our modern day culture or because of who they are and you don't think they could do that, or what's behind that?
I think every parent wants to believe that their child would never do something horrible.
Right.
And so I am definitely in that camp. My kids don't have a malicious bone in their bodies. They're really good quality people. They're still young. They've still got to grow up. They've still got to go to college. They've got to experience, there's still time for the world to fuck them up is all I'm saying, okay? Baby's first drug addiction, whatever. Let's see. But it's also, I think, a product of where we live and the rise in purity culture and all of these different bits and pieces. And it is way easier for a young woman who feels badly about how something has gone to change their mind later and in some way say that they've been coerced or, something like that. And there's another person on the other side of that who is like, oh my gosh. Now, as a part of that, we need to teach our kids about consent. That's super duper important. Unless it's an enthusiastic yes, it's a no. But that is one of those gray areas. But I would stand in their corner until proven differently.
Yeah, because like
yeah.
you said, you never want to blame the victim, but you also want to make sure nowadays, especially, that what they're saying is true. Because when Me Too first happened, everything was so here and here and here and here and grabbing, oh my God, this happened. And then we also had people that were blamed for stuff that was a bad date. Like if you go back and look at Aziz Ansari and how he got Me Too'd because he went on a bad date. And there's instances of that. So yeah, you're right to think about it that way, I believe.
Yeah, and I do think that the Me Too movement, that some really good things did come out of that.
Yeah.
You know, people like, what was her name? Rose McGowan. She'd been trying to tell us about Harvey motherfucking Weinstein for years. She got shunned. She lost out on parts. It was a very badly kept open secret about what kind of a prick that guy was. And I really do think that we need to drag that shit out into the light. And so, you know, people are like, oh, you can't make jokes anymore. You can't, blah, blah, blah. Well, you can. They just have to be funny. You know, you just can't put your hand up people's skirts anymore without repercussions and stuff like that. So I think that that's positive. But
and when it came to him, it was, yes, all those women that came forward, but then all the guys that had stories about seeing stuff and not saying anything about it. And like, okay, you were quite the puss for not bringing that up. You're not a low-level person that doesn't have any heat. You're a celebrity that saw things and didn't do anything about it. Like, I think Ben Affleck, didn't he defend Gwyneth Paltrow from him? Wasn't that a story? And it's like, okay, not his direct responsibility, but geez, maybe you could have spoken up too there, Ben Affleck, if I'm remembering that right.
And it's, look at where we live now, though. People with power who have the ability to ruin your life. And famous people are just as vulnerable as the rest of us.
Right. Social media, that's the culture.
Right. Again, controversial. But if my child was attacked and in self-defense happened to end someone, which I hope that this never, ever happens or anything like that. But imagine like what happened on the bus, that man who went and he attacked that woman with a knife or whatever, and there wasn't any video footage of it and the tables were turned. I don't know if I would. I mean, I'd have to think about it a little bit.
The situation of how it happened is everything, and I'm sure you'd have to give it some thought depending on what it was. So
yeah, exactly. But again, we've talked about this before on the show. I am such a goody two-shoes, and I am raising my children to be that way as well. But I'm losing faith in our justice system.
Yeah. I'm losing faith in everything related to our justice system and government.
Yeah, I'm losing faith in the justice system because I think it's not all it's cracked up to be. And we have documented evidence of corruption.
Yeah, and the way everything is in place, it's supposed to work, but it's not working because everybody that would stand up to those that are not making it work is a complete puss and won't stand up to them because they could lose their job or whatever. The problem is that if you don't stand up and nobody else does, that's how they get away with it. If everybody stood up, there would be no issues. I am waiting for a time in our society, probably within the next year or two, where there is just a nationwide stop of everything, where people have just had enough and nobody goes to work, nobody goes to school, nobody does anything, and we just shut this country down for a day or two or maybe a week. I don't know, but that's what it's going to take to get people's attention, because guaranteed this Trump motherfucker doesn't know how pissed off people are because he's being shielded from that. And if we don't get that across soon, it's just going to get worse and worse. And we need to impeach the goddamn Supreme Court.
My favorite conspiracy theory that has come out in the wake of the Charlie Kirk assassination is that it was an inside job from the administration, because one of the most vocal people calling for release of the Epstein files was Charlie Kirk.
I saw that too.
And since, like, color me surprised, Batman, but since that happened, Trump's approval rating amongst white voters has jumped 6 points.
Well, it's like after he got shot, allegedly, his approval ratings went up, and I said he just won the election at that point. And I thought, okay, maybe when he was eating cats and dogs, maybe that would have an effect. But people saw past that, and it's just ridiculous. I saw those conspiracy theories too. And did you see the videos of the guys standing next to him, allegedly giving hand signals?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
okay, I don't want to do the conspiracy thing, but that's really weird. And what was that?
So weird.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how to explain the hand signals or what appear to be hand signals away. It's just odd. So
It is so odd. And how about that loose unit, that 71-year-old bloke who was like, it was me, apparently to give the real shooter time to escape. So you know how Patel went within just a matter of minutes, we have the suspect in custody,
right.
and then flippy-floppied? It's because some old bloke, some 71-year-old man in the audience was like, I shot him. I did it. And so he got arrested. And then during the interrogation, they had to let him go. And then today, a week hence, he's now having child pornography charges.
The 71-year-old is?
The 71-year-old, yeah. So they've
Wow.
rifled through his underwear drawer and found bad things about him after it turns out actually he's just being a rebel rouser. And he said it was him to give the real shooter time to escape.
I wonder if if there's not a conspiracy thing happening, if he just decided that he disliked Charlie Kirk and all of that enough and saw that something had happened and literally just wanted to stall.
Yep.
Is that what he said, or do we know?
Yeah.
I haven't heard this yet, so.
Yeah, that's right. So he wanted the real shooter to escape, which is outrageous. And all of these people who have been celebrating his death, like aggressively, like filming themselves dancing and all of that kind of stuff. There's something wrong with people if we are that desensitized to that sort of violence. I actually contacted my dad, who listens to the show. I texted him on Facebook going, somebody just shot Charlie Kirk. My dad actually followed him, and I accidentally saw the video.
Oh, I've heard about that.
And it just showed up in my social media feed within an hour of it happening. And it's horrific. Anybody who can watch that video and not be moved needs to get their head read. It is awful.
Yeah, when that happened, I heard about it from you, and I avoided it, and it's just a weird, terrible thing. And now it's going to be that he's the martyr, and it's a whole political football for the Republicans, and we just need to be sane, reasonable people.
What about when Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband were murdered in their house?
Yep.
And I wonder, obviously because it wasn't captured on footage. Well, actually it was. It was captured on Ring camera, I think, but they never released the video.
Yeah. And the Republicans were not outraged then. That was just as real a killing, and if anything worse, because it was like a mob style hit.
Right. Up close.
Yep.
And they killed the dog as well. But it died in one news cycle. No pun intended. But I find that horrible. Nothing being flown at half mast. Nobody, their families must just be shocked as well. Like, you never want to compare people's tragedies, but it does. I don't understand why those things are different.
Their death was just as real, but because it didn't benefit the Republicans and the right, they swept it under the rug, and they're controlling a lot of the media now because the media is so fearful of talking about any of this.
100%. This has been politics.
I thought I would share this story with you. Moving on. It's just kind of a fun thing. I want to ask you how you thought I would react to this. It was almost like a movie the way it played out.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Is this shopping with Stu?
Oh, it is Shopping with Stu. It's another episode.
I love it. I can't wait.
It's kind of fun the way it all comes around. I was at Trader Joe's, and it was a Trader Joe's in a world-famous retirement community. It's nothing but old people. It's that community that you would name and go, oh, it's all old people that live there. And I'm in line, and there's somebody in front of me, and then in front of her is this really old lady. and she gets through and she gets her stuff on the thing and they ring it and they give her the total. And she did the thing almost like from a movie where they give her the total and she goes, "Oh, I'm going to pay now." And she starts getting out her purse finally. And she brings her purse up very slowly. And then she unzips her purse very slowly. And then she gets into her purse and she gets her pocketbook. And then she looks at her pocketbook and she looks at the total. And then she goes in and she gets the cash out. Somebody paying with cash nowadays. What the fuck? And then she goes, "Oh," and raises a finger and she realizes she's got coins. So then she goes into her coin purse and she's pulling out the coins and she's trying to figure out the coin aspect of it to try to get her change rounded up when the cashier does the change. And she works her way through that. And then she slowly hands the cashier the money and the coins. And the cashier looks at it just dumbfounded because it's obviously wrong. We don't know what this old lady has figured out. And the cashier puts the change in and tries to do math in her head. And I thought, okay, this is going to be a thing where the younger generation screws it up because the younger generation doesn't know how to make change. Luckily, this was a smart person and they did work it out and they gave her back the correct change. It seemed like, and it just didn't work. It's like, okay, you gave me this and that doesn't make sense. Here's your change and here's your actual coin change. And she gave it back to the old lady. The old lady then steps around a little bit and they start ringing up the person that's in front of me. The old lady continues to stand there, just standing there looking at her change. And we're all kind of aware of her presence, just wondering, okay, what is going to happen now? I'm just waiting for her to complain about the change or something isn't right. And at this point, how do you think I am in my head?
Furious.
That is a very good guess. I'll tell you that I said, okay, you're in a land where there's nothing but old people. You know an old person. Try to be empathetic. Try to be good. We're going to be patient with this old lady. She's not trying to be a shit. She's really just wanting to get through life. I'm not going to fume at this point. I talked my way through it. I was pretty proud of myself. I wasn't fuming at this point.
That's amazing because in my mind, by the time she'd put her finger in the air, you were plotting her death. Like in my mind in this story, as soon as she goes to rummage for coins, I was like, the only thing missing from this is if she licks the finger to like count out the paper money. And I was like, oh my God, there's going to be a murder here. But when did you lose your shit?
Yeah. And we were right in the middle of a good story. And we lost her. I don't know what happened there.
Please leave your message for 370.
Hold on.
Welcome back to the world.
Fucking hell.
We didn't have connection. You were in the middle of a great sentence and then you were gone.
Catastrophic error here too. I don't know what the fuck. The irony of this situation is we used to have fail over internet so that if one went down, the other one would just fail over.
Right.
But it had been 2 years since the primary had a problem. And so last week, he got rid of the other one. Good timing. So I'm very sorry about
it's not your
the
fault.
disturbance.
I'm fine. If I get you out by 55, are you okay? Or do we have to get
No,
through
we can.
really quick?
Yeah, then's okay.
I think you were saying that at this point in the story, you would consider that I was fuming and I was saying that no, that isn't the case. The old lady's standing there and the person in front of me now gets her stuff and leaves and pays like a normal person with a credit card. And I'm getting my stuff rung up and the old lady is still standing there looking at her money and looking up. And I thought, I'm going to be nice, but I'm also not going to be the guy to say, hey, what's wrong with her? Because I need to get back and get my stuff going.
Sure.
So I get through my purchase, and as I'm grabbing my stuff, the friendly, really professional cashier turns to the old lady, and she says, what's going on, hon? Did I not give you the right amount of change back? And the old lady looks down, looks back up at the cashier, and she goes, no, there's a problem with my bill. And her hand is shaking, and she's holding a $5 bill. And the issue is that one of the fives that the cashier gave her in the middle where you would fold it has about a 3 millimeter tear in the bill. And she's not happy that that bill was given to her and she doesn't want it. That's why she's been standing there fumbling around the entire time. Even though that was the case, I still was a good human being, and I took a deep breath and I smiled and I walked out the door with the old lady in her millimeter torn $5 bill.
Wow. That is quite the story. And I would have acknowledged her way earlier. I would have found it so awkward, just essentially people just ringing up and stepping over this old coot's body. Essentially, that's what's happened. People are just like, you know what? Nothing to see here, folks. Just like stepping over her and around her. Like she's a rock in a river and no one's acknowledging her. I wouldn't have been able to. It would have killed me.
I think at first the thought was, well, maybe she's just moving really slow. And then when she was still standing there, it's like, okay, maybe she's counting her change. And then I think eventually it got to the point in everybody's head where, yeah, somebody needs to say something. And I said, it's not going to be me. I just want to get my crap and leave. And that's the way it happened. So,
well, what I've learned today is that there's been some personal growth for you, which I think that's great. Or you finally got your meds right. I don't know which one it is.
I'd like to think that I have found my inner light. I've found my peace in my inner light. And that's what has happened with me. I'm just going to start meditating every morning when I wake up and just om, and I'll get a mantra. I hear you have to have a mantra, so I'll get that. I don't know what my mantra will be, but it'll be something like don't kill old people, something like that. I don't know. We'll
it's
see.
Something incredibly helpful and useful.
Yeah.
The image that I have in my mind when you tell me that you're going to be meditating, I'll have to find the clip and send it to you. But it reminds me of something that was doing the rounds on the internet. Have you seen when the Grinch goes to yoga and is sitting there meditating and the lady says, okay, now everybody take a big deep breath in and then just sigh and let it out. And then he just starts screaming, a blood-curdling scream. Just let it all out. And just like everyone's looking. And then he's like, oh, yeah, that does feel good.
I haven't seen that, but that sounds pretty great.
It
sounds
pretty
exactly like
me. And he's
me.
in the middle of all of these lycra-clad ladies, and he is screaming like there's been a murder, just letting all the demons out. It's pretty awesome.
So there's that. And the other personal thing that I was going to pass on before the internet and Charlie Kirk interrupted us was that I did go and see Spinal Tap 2 this week.
Woohoo!
It is good if you're just into comedy. It's great if you know the first movie and are into Spinal Tap. Mm-hmm. I would phrase it that way. And it was opening and I'm like, oh God, I haven't been into the movies in forever. And now I'm going to have to go to the movies where there's people and maybe old ladies with torn $5 bills. And I don't want to get involved in that. So I was looking at the Saturday it opened and I check online. And there's a Saturday matinee showing. Guess what time Saturday matinee was available?
2 p.m.
9 a.m. This is perfect for me.
Wow.
You go when it's early. There's no other people. You can get it done and see the movie you want to see. I bought my ticket, went. There was literally one other person in the theater. The whole place was ours. And I laughed out loud a couple times. And worth seeing for sure if you're a fan of Spinal Tap. And the thing that is odd is that I said, I can't remember the last time I went to a movie because I don't need to go out and get involved in that. There's no reason to go to the cinema, as you would say. We go to the theater here. You go to the cinema. I don't like to go to the cinema. And I said, I can't remember what was the last movie that I saw at the cinema. And I said, oh, it was My Old Ass, which is a pretty good movie with Aubrey Plaza and some cute blonde girl, very touching. Actually made me cry. And I said, that was a while ago, My Old Ass. I looked it up, and the date of that I checked was September 13th, 2024. the date that I went to see Spinal Tap 2, September 13th, 2025. Exactly 1 year to the day. So
Wow.
I'm just going to be going to the movies once a year. And now I'm concerned I have to look ahead to see what's going to be playing on September 13th, 2026, because that's going to be my whole commitment to life.
I love it. What do you think the chances are of you and I, both people who do not frequent the cinema, going to the movies on exactly the same day last week? I haven't told you this, but I also went to the cinema on Saturday on a whim, but we went as a whole family because
Right.
the youngest was like, I want to do something fun. I'm like, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to go to the movies.
Did you happen to go around 12 noon?
No, we actually went
Okay.
at 6:30 p.m. because
Because that would have been exactly at the same time.
that would have been
fun,
exactly the same time,
Yeah.
right? Because of our time zone difference.
Right.
The only reason we didn't go then, we wanted to, but there is nothing on at the movies right now, save for what I'm going to tell you that we watched, that is for children, anyone under the age of 18. Everything else is like horror or R-rated or something like that. So there's nothing else. So he'd already decided he wanted us all to go to the movies as a family. And there's this new fancy, bar and tap and movie situation near where we live, and we've never been there. He's like, I want to go.
Well, and
there
your
right
kid
now.
is such a beer drinker, so.
I know. We're trying to get him
Yeah.
to cut down, but
Yeah.
it's either that or back on the heroin. So, choose your fucking battles. Choose your battles, Stu. So we're like, all right, hands off the smack. Just
So you went and
one
saw.
beer. Hamilton.
Oh, I saw that in the re-release.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the Spinal Tap numbers and it got killed. It was like fourth and nothing else was playing. I saw Hamilton on the TV.
Yeah, it's the same as what's on Disney Plus currently, but it's great.
Yeah.
The whole time, our kids kept looking over at us, smiling and giving us the thumbs up. They definitely enjoyed it way more. They absolutely loved it. My husband and I were maybe a little less forgiving. Like the music was great,
Right.
but then the transformation to the stage show, I know it gets lauded all the time, but we had a really interesting conversation afterwards. We're like, okay, I know that everyone rants and raves about Hamilton, and I think it is creative and groundbreaking and, yes, agreed. But it's no fucking Lion King or Matilda or Wicked, all of which we've seen either at the East End in London or on Broadway. It's not as good as that.
See, I don't have theater in me. I don't know it all, but I saw that Hamilton thing and heard so much about it. And I said, okay, it's free on TV.
Yeah.
It's historical rap music. That's not going to be for me. I watched it and thought it was great. The only thing that I found distracting, and we talked about this on the show, was that I think they made Thomas Jefferson a black guy and he owned slaves. And there were little things like that I thought, okay, great that they're giving those people the opportunity, but I almost feel like they're purposefully giving them the opportunity and whatever. It's not a make or break thing, but that was just odd to me.
I understand why, we feel like that, but there are interviews with all of the cast and crew at the beginning of the movie, right before it goes on. And they talk about how it all started way back when, like maybe 2006 or 2009, and he was working on this music. And then over the next period of time, a lot of people who are actually in the cast were helping him write the music and the score and all those things. And then they started performing it just as musical numbers before it was transformed into a stage show. So rather than a traditional trajectory and audition process,
Right.
you can tell the people whose roles were auditioned for later in the piece, like the lady who play the sisters and Jonathan Groff, who plays the King of England. By far my favorite. Oh
He
my
was
gosh.
great. Like, as much as you want to not like that character, he was great. His flamboyance, and he played it very big. And yeah, that was cool. Here's me talking about stage productions. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? But Jonathan Groff, absolutely fantastic. I didn't even know that he played the original King George. But when he came on the screen, I was like, clicking, going, like, who's that guy? And my husband was like, oh, it's the guy. It's the guy from Mindhunter. He plays one of the cops. It's a series about the invention of FBI profiling for serial killers, how that became a method of catching serial killers. Anyway, it was a great show. Really, really liked it.
Well, there's our catch up now that we've had an internet interruption and all kinds of things going on. Last thing I want to do is there's a big promotion now with Spinal Tap and Liquid Death. Liquid Death, they make the water.
The water in the can. Well,
there's a commercial for it, and I think the commercial's kind of fun, so we can play this. And this is Spinal Tap doing their Liquid Death spot.
Liquid Death, it's the finest of beers.
There's no beer like it.
Anywhere else.
Near. Yeah. Anywhere near.
So I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but we're ready to do this Liquid Death commercial.
The beer.
No, I know it looks like beer, but it's water. It's just water.
Why would we sell water? Maybe it's a lager, more like a lager.
No, there's no lager, there's no beer, there's no alcohol. They just make water and iced tea.
But this is the beer version.
No, there's no beer. They don't make beer.
This is water?
Yeah, that's water.
Wow.
Feels like beer.
It's a special. Look, here.
Bloody hell, it's heavy.
All right, ready and action.
Do you ever wake up in the morning with that?
No, that's a different commercial.
Okay.
That's a different.
The new... Almost read one of your tattoos, darling. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Hello, we are Spinal Tap. Are you thirsty?
I am.
Me too.
Well, how about some Liquid Death in various flavors?
Yeah,
with a
try
couple
my
in between?
favorite, Dead Billionaire.
He loves that. I like the cherry obituary.
Right here.
And the severed lines.
Yeah.
Too.
Pop it open and then you drink it, you see.
Yeah. The new limited edition 11-pack from Liquid Death and Spinal Tap. Each is signed by us. Collect yours now at liquiddeath.com/Spinal Tap.
Get good and bloody drunk.
No, it doesn't work that way. No, it's good for you.
And then it fades out with Big Bottom. Do you know the history of Big Bottom?
I don't know the history of Big Bottom,
Okay.
but I do love the fact that it comes into an 11-pack. Why is it going all
made
the way
that
up to
special.
11?
Yeah, so good.
So
Big
good.
Bottom is a song. It's called Big Bottom, Big Low End. And on that song, everybody plays bass. They're all playing bass, every single one of them. There's no guitars. There's drums and keyboard, but everybody else is playing bass. And the song is all about his girlfriend's ass.
I love that. It reminds me of that SNL skit of where there's the jam session and everybody's playing bass. Have you
Maybe
seen?
they got it
You
from there.
remember
Who knows?
Okay, but what we really need is we need some more guitarists. We don't need any more bass players. And then a guy comes on with what looks like a keyboard, but it's just a bass case.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
It's going to be a shorter show by the time I edit it because we had your internet interruption. Was it the people across the street? Do you need to go over there with your hands on your hips and make a point, or what do you think?
It was not. It was, we believe, a reset by the provider that then caused the gateway to shit itself.
Fucking providers. I've had my ass full of providers.
That is what it says on the toilets near me.
So anyway, you have to go do stuff, so go do that. And far as I know, we will have a show next week. There's an issue where Apple just updated their operating system, and I'm going to upgrade to that. So that could go bad depending on my plugins and all of that. We'll hope to be here next week. And either way, maybe I'll call you. I'll just call you and we'll do a lo-fi show and just record a phone conversation. Go back to the basics like caveman days.
I love it. It'll be like the lo-fi ASMR that I listen to. It'll be
you go.
grainy. It'll be gritty. It'll be fantastic.
And I'll conference in that blonde woman with the big boobs that you like, and we'll go from there.
Oh, she does have ginormous norks.
They're huge. And I'm still bothered by her. I've gotten responses from really good people from time to time as I've gone through life. Jim Gaffigan, as an example, but we can't get this blonde woman to respond. I'm bothered.
I'm sure. And now, not that I don't think that we're fantastic, but I'm sure she got 2 steps into one of our shows and went, these people are out of their fucking minds.
Yeah.
And she might be right.
That does happen from time to time. I forgot that part. I'll send a clip and then I forget and I go, oh, there's that part where I said that thing and that probably didn't go over so well. So you're right. Was I making fun of New Age stuff when we talked about her? I don't think I was.
I don't think so, but
Maybe it's because I called it asthma.
I'm sure she wouldn't worry about that. I don't know, but I think we have made fun of crystals on this show. I actually have a friend who is so deep into that. She's really into healing your energies and crystals and all
Mine
that
in
kind of stuff.
particular?
Your energy?
Mine?
Yeah.
She
does. The big stew energy. She can't shut up about it. And so I've been unwell, and so she's come over and she's really into trying to get me to go and see some kind of energy healer so that my body will heal, whatever. But that's not the best part about this story. The best part about this story is this woman does not like animals. Okay? As we know, I have several. I have cats, 2 cats and a dog. Anyway, she came over the other day for dinner and my cats are sort of flitting around and she's decided that she now likes cats because she was listening to some woo-woo podcast about somebody who's talking about how apparently cats are really good for your spiritual energy and they're really spiritual beings and all of that kind of stuff. And so even though she hates cats, she's considering getting a cat because of the spiritual energy benefits. And I was like, cool. I go, you know why witches have fucking cats, right? Like, this is a common thing. Don't they believe that, like every witch has a cat? Like, she's the closest thing to a witch that I know of, and I'm surprised she doesn't already have a cat. But I never knew that somebody would change their tune around whether or not they're going to get an animal or not based upon its fucking cosmic connection.
This is a very flighty person, a very out there person that I would just love to interview if she weren't a friend of yours. Because I wouldn't go out of my way to make her look like an asshole, but guaranteed she would come across that way.
And I have to tell you, she is one of the smartest, nicest, kindest human beings on the whole planet. And I love her so dearly. And I think this is a great example of how I am fortunate enough to have really great, interesting people as friends. But everyone's got their thing, right? That I just find so interesting. And I actually like it because I don't understand it.
And I'm sorry if I put you in a bad position just now by saying I would make your friend look like an asshole. I don't mean that she is an asshole.
But I totally get it. Sometimes
it's just weird.
Right. And then I have to check myself and go, how do I know that these crazy rocks aren't magical? I don't know that. I don't know it for sure. Maybe
I do that and then I come to my senses and I go, of course not. This is a woman that's buying a cat because it's good for her soul. No.
Yeah.
And then I would also start other rumors about really weird, wild shit just to see if I could get her to do them. Like, you know what happens if you paint your walls purple? Oh, it makes you breathe in the eternal spirit for all lifetime. That and if you eat chocolate that's been sitting around for 4 days, it will feed your soul.
How do you know that she likes chocolate? It's her favorite thing.
I just keyed into that because I am a spiritual being.
Because you're a spiritual being. But sometimes I go around, and I actually think it's really nice that people have a passion and they have something they believe in.
Yeah.
I don't think that she believes in God, but she definitely believes in moon, water, and rocks. And I can get behind it.
If we're going by literal things, I would be more apt to believe in something spiritual and woo-woo than the actual Christian definition of God. So it's hard for me to criticize that, I guess.
Right. And so, you know, I go back and forth on those things too. Do I believe in the healing power of nature and sunshine and feeling the grass on your feet? Actually, yes. You know, get outside and play. I believe in that. And then I'm like, hey, that's not too many steps away from crystals and moon water and energy cats.
And I will tell you this, the guy you know from all this, has read Deepak Chopra books. So there you go. I've read those and I said, that shit doesn't work. I tried it and then I walked away from it.
And then you walked away from it. Well, part of it lives inside you. And I know this because $5 Granny got off scot-free.
There you go. That was the Deepak.
Yeah, it was the Deepak.
Soothing me and keeping me calm.
Yep, just drawing on that. But there you go. This has been
right.
Spiritual Talk.
Yeah. You've got to go, so have a very fine day, and we'll talk to you next week, probably.
Definitely. No matter what, I will talk to you. Have a great week and take care of yourself.
Okay, you know how this goes. Like us, subscribe, tell your friends, write a nice review, engage with us. We're Total Babble on Instagram, on Facebook, on Threads, and on Blue Sky. Email is show@totalbabble.com. The Total Babble Podcast.